Hello there. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Nightline. I'm Handy Gui. Let's dive into the news. Malaysia recorded 3,339 new COVID-19 cases today, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 159,434. 7 fatalities were recorded, bringing the total number of deaths to 601.
Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said Selangor remains in the lead with 1,314 cases reported. Sabah recorded the second highest with 393 cases, followed by Johor with 362 cases. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 62 new positive COVID-19 cases today. Cebu recorded the highest at 43 cases out of the total cases recorded. Miri recorded 6 cases, Kuching with 3 cases, Julau, Meradong and Beluru recorded 2 cases each, and Dalat, Bintulu, Kapit and Belaga recorded 1 case each. This brings the total number of positive cases in the state to 2,111 cases. The Pasai cluster in Cebu continues to record the highest number of cases among active clusters at 24 cases.
Right. Meanwhile, during a surprise inspection conducted on Sunday at the Stutong and Kota Sentosa Community Market, Deputy Chief Minister Datuk Amar Douglas Ugah Embas expressed his satisfaction with the locals' compliance of the stipulated standard operating procedures in curbing the spread of the COVID-19 infection.
Ugah, who is also the State Disaster Management Committee chairman, commended the effort from all parties and hoped that the other community markets and shopping malls have the same level of discipline in adhering to the SOPs. He also expressed his gratitude to the enforcement officers for continuing to play their roles in ensuring the people continue to comply with the SOPs.
Movement between zones under the Conditional Movement Control Order is not allowed except for essential services where a police permit is required.
According to Sarawak Police Commissioner Dato' ID Ismail, travel between one zone to another is not allowed during the CMCO period in Sarawak, except for essential services and those who have obtained permits from the police. Movement within a zone is permitted except for travel to areas under the Movement Control Order. Among the areas placed under the Conditional Movement Control Order are Kuching, which comprises of Kuching, Kota Samarahan and Serian, Sri Aman, Serikai, which comprises of Serikai and Betong, Mukah, Bintulu and Limbang.
The Conditional Movement Control Order CMCO will be extended to other divisions in Sarawak from January 18 to 31st. All social activities held in pub or nightclubs, amusement park, karaoke centres, massage parlours, spa and reflexology centres are prohibited during this period to curb the spread of COVID-19.
According to the State Disaster Management Committee, all entertainment activities, including indoor playgrounds and cinemas, are prohibited throughout this period. Meanwhile, the organizing of local and international sporting events with spectators are not allowed unless a permit was granted by the Malaysian Ministry of Youth and Sports. Nevertheless, retail pharmacies and medical stores all over the state, except Cebu Division, are allowed to operate from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. throughout the implementation of CMCO. Furthermore, private clinics and hospitals are allowed to operate according to the hours stipulated by the government.
A total of 41 firefighters from 4 fire stations in Kuching together with villagers carried out the post-flood cleaning program and rehabilitation in Batu Kawah. The program was conducted at 3 locations, namely Kampung Rantau Panjang, Kampung Sinar Budi Lama and Kampung Tengah Sungai.
Cleaning works involving public infrastructures such as surau, mosques, schools, road and multipurpose hall following the flooding on Wednesday. According to the Fire and Rescue Department Sarawak Director Kiruddin Rahman, the program was carried out at the request of Batu Kawah Assemblyman Dato' Dr. Sim Kui Hian.
Dan masyarakat di N14 ini cukup 14 ni cukup beruntung sebab inilah kata permintaan daripada adus tempat lah. Dan program-program yang kita buat ini adalah berdasarkan kepada keperluan untuk kita membantu masyarakat tempat dalam pemulihan dan juga pembersihan kawasan.
He also said that the program only focused on places used by the public. However, in certain situations, the program also offers assistance to clean private homes.
Dan kita akan cuma membantu bagi rumah murah persendian yang diduduki oleh warga mas. Orang tua yang mana mereka tidak ada orang lain membantu, kita akan bagi bantulah bersama dengan bomba komuniti kita dengan pasukan yang ada di kawasan dan kita perlukan dan
Following the rain warning that continues until Monday issued by the Malaysian Meteorology Department, Khairuddin said the firefighters are always ready to face any possible flood in the future.
Baik, kita dapat lihat para penduduk dan juga pihak bomba kini sedang giat menjalankan kerja-kerja pembersihan di Kampung Sinar Budi Lama. Berdasarkan maklumat yang saya dapati, terdapat 225 penduduk daripada 47 keluarga dari Kampung Sinar Budi Lama telah dipindahkan ke PPS Batu Kawah 38 Commercial Centre pada Rabu. Dan sekarang ada antara mereka telah kembali ke kediaman masing-masing untuk mengemas dan mencuci rumah mereka selepas banjir. Saya juga turut difahamkan bahawa terdapat 10 PPS di kawasan Batu Kawah telah ditutup pada Sabtu dan PPS Batu Kawah 38 Commercial Centre akan ditutup pada jam 11 pagi pada Ahad. Sekian laporan dari saya, Radin Aida bersama jurukamera Awang Azmil untuk TVS.
Having to face floods in Sarawak in the 1960s to 1980s cannot be compared with its experience now. Today, almost all needs of those affected are provided by the government through its relevant agencies.
Kalaulah dibandingkan banjir masa dulu, kalau tak salah saya tahun 1963, pada masa itu memang pihak agensi ataupun pihak kerajaan memang susah nak membantu. Jadi kalau dibandingkan tahun banjir yang boleh dikatakan besar juga tahun 2004, di situlah kita melihat ramai yang dapat membantu. Masa itu pihak bomba ada bantu, pihak polis, tentera dan juga pihak pertahanan awam dapat membantu kita untuk membuatkan pemindahan di pusat pemindahan. Begitu juga dengan bantuan-bantuan makanan, pihak kebajikan dapat membantu di pusat keperluan di pusat pemindahan.
He said the recent flood that has happened is not the worst one yet in the history of Kampung Rantau Panjang. However, he is grateful for flood relief assistance to the affected communities. In the same development, SK Rantau Panjang Headmaster Othman Unek urged the local community to always be vigilant and reminded everyone to comply with the stipulated standard operating procedure to curb the spread of the COVID-19.
Keadaan cuaca sekarang ini tidak menentu dan kemungkinan kita akan menimba musibah kita tidak dapat menyangka. Jadi saya nasihati kepada semua komuniti dan penduduk kampung serta dengan warga sekolah, berhati-hatilah dan sentiasa berwaspada. Yang paling penting, kita perlu mengekalkan SOP untuk mengelakkan pandemik COVID ini merebak.
Right, a total of 4,200 food packs have been distributed these few villages affected by the flood in Daro. Daro State Assemblyman Safi Ahmad said the program organised by the Daro District Disaster Committee and the Community Welfare Department aims to ease the burden of the flood victims.
Ya, semalam kita dah mula menghantar bantuan makanan kepada 4 buah kampung yang terjejas disebabkan oleh masalah banjir yang melanda kawasan Dago baru-baru itu. Bermula dengan kampung Lemompek dan semalam separuhnya kita dah bagi bantuan kepada kampung Tengah dan hari ini saya fahamkan kampung Tengah dan kampung Lemompek pun selesai diakhir bantuan dan cuma tinggal sebuah kampung lagi iaitu kampung Tebaang. InsyaAllah kalau dapat dilaksanakan pada hari ini ianya akan diteruskan pada esok hari ini.
Shafi said this when contacted by TVS on Sunday. Furthermore, despite the king tide phenomenon showing signs of subsiding, he nevertheless reminded the Daro community to always be vigilant and cautious.
Right. Here's the latest post-flood development in Bau. Today marks the second day of the Bau-Lundu road repair works after the road was damaged by a landslide.
Bau District Officer Anilia Siam said the road repair might take some time to be completed. This is because various factors should be taken into consideration to ensure quality workmanship and prevent the incident from occurring again.
Sebab batu yang kita jatuhkan di bahagian tanah runtuh tersebut, semua dia jauh ke bawah. Kita belum nampak lagi paras batu tu dapat naik dengan cepatlah. Sebab apabila kita membuat longgokan batu untuk mengurangkan struktur tanah yang sekarang ini sangat tidak stabil. Jadi paras batu tersebut tak sampai 50% lagi untuk menyamai paras jalan yang ada kini.
Anilia acknowledged that the ongoing repair works could cause frequent traffic congestion along the road. This is because this road is the shortest way to Bau Division for those travelling from Lundu and Sematan.
Dan ada juga yang menyatakan mereka tidak dapat menggunakan jalan lain untuk ke Kuching contohnya untuk dapat keperluan sebab mereka risau di tondong tersebut laluan tersekat. Kita tambah baik komunikasi kita dan kita bawa juga pasukan polis sebab yang masa tu laluan tu hanya dikawal oleh pihak CMS dan JKR.
Meanwhile, she advised those who wish to travel using this road, especially during working days, to plan their trip ahead.
Esok hari pembukaan pejabat, jadi saya mohon kalau nak bergerak tu boleh bergerak awal sebab seperti yang kita maklumkan pagi-pagi awal agak lenganglah laluan tersebut supaya kita dapat mengelak daripada kesesakan ataupun kita guna jalan yang sebelah Keranji itu.
Hari ini masih lagi berlangsung kerja-kerja pembaikan Jalan Bau Lundu yang terhakis hampir sepenuhnya akibat tanah runtuh. Kerja-kerja pembaikan dijangka akan mengambil masa yang lama untuk siap kerana kerosakan yang dialami adalah amat teruk sekali. Pihak yang bertanggungjawab telah bekerja melangkaui waktu pejabat iaitu sehingga malam dan juga ketika hujung minggu. Orang ramai dinasihati untuk merancang perjalanan masing-masing sekiranya hendak ke Bau dan melalui kawasan ini. Laporan Odin Kateli untuk TVS Bau.
One misfortune after another. This is what was experienced by Rajani Borhan, a flood victim in Kampung Bintawa, Kuching, after his 30-year-old house collapsed due to the soil erosion brought on by the flood. It all began when cracks started forming in the pillars under the kitchen area, causing the floor to crack and collapse. The homeowner believes that the collapse was caused by soft soil structure and the flood that happened 4 days ago.
Keadaan rumah yang telah roboh akibat banjir 4 hari lepas. Nya roboh macam tu start hari Maret dah. Nya start roboh. Nya mula retak, lepas retak nya tunjuk kecondongan rumah. Lepas ya dalam pukul sebelum tengah hari tadi nya terus roboh. Kemungkinan besar disebabkan struktur tanah dengan kekuatan naik pasang dengan naik surut yang berlaku 4 hari lepas.
Concerned neighbours and relatives have been an immense help to the victims who were given assistance and aid in terms of financials and labour.
Yang jiran-jiran terdekat, kawan-kawan datang ngalih barang lah. Walaupun banjir besar. Sebelum tu ada banjir besar tapi dah terjadi macam tu. Setakat tu alhamdulillah keluarga dari sebelah bini kami sudah ada memberi bantuan, keluarga dari kami ada juga memberi bantuan. InsyaAllah bantuan dari YB akan menyusul lah. Minta tolong segerakanlah ni rumah tu kerana kami dapat nak pergi sini lah.
Rajani, who lives in the area, sells delicacies to support his family, and for him, it is a big obstacle in life he has to overcome.
Beginilah keadaan keadaan terkini setakat petang ini, kediaman Asar Rajani Borhan yang runtuh ekoran banjir yang melanda sejak awal minggu ini, berat mata memandang berat lagi bahu memikul. Pastinya ini akan menyukarkan bagi aktiviti harian dijalankan. Adalah diharapkan bantuan setimpal akan dihulurkan kepada mangsa untuk memudahkan lagi kehidupan seharian mangsa. Mari Suji untuk melaporkan TVS bersama dengan juru kamera Fikri Razak.
Right. Although there won't be any face-to-face learning session, excitement is in the air for the start of the school session, especially for parents who have prepared school supplies for their children. Akmal Saleh has the details. This is somewhat to ensure the stability of students' emotion in returning to school in the new norm, despite the difficulty of acclimating to it. For Norma Mustafa, men's supplies are essential, such as clothing, shoes, and stationaries, as those are early preparations for her children to return to school at any time.
Ajaklah biar sekolah bersuasana beli bajunya, ke standby biar sekolah lah. Macam buka sekolah, kita dah nak atau orang nak turun ajak biar sekolah aja dah standby awal lah beli. Sihalah bila-bilanya atau orang bila masuk sekolah kita standby aja lah. Atau orang untuk budak sekolah.
Meanwhile, from the perspective of businesses, the COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected their businesses when compared to previous years. Nur Kamarina said the number of customers have been greatly reduced following the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
Di situ semakin berkuranglah customernya, si ramai macam dulu lebih ramai lagi dari sebelum tu agak berkurang sikit lah akibat pandemik COVID-19 tu.
However, she said her premise remains open for customers, subject to strict compliance with the standard operating procedures.
So far, Alhamdulillah, semua customer mematuhi syarat SOP. Di kedai kami orang pun menyediakan cek suhu dan scan. Bagi yang sedia My Sejahtera ya, kami orang sarankan untuk tulis nama lah. Dan bagi yang meletakkan mask di dagu, kami orang suruh letak di atas baru boleh masuk.
On Saturday, the Malaysian Ministry of Education has announced that the school session that was scheduled to open on January 20th nationwide has been postponed due to the current COVID-19 situation. However, the face-to-face school session will only involve students who are sitting for the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, Sijil Vocational Malaysia, Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia SKM, Sijil Tinggi Persekolahan Malaysia STPM, Sijil Tinggi Agama Malaysia STAM, and Diploma Vocational Malaysia DVM Year 2020 and equivalent international exams. Meanwhile, for students who are not involved in the open school sessions, they are encouraged to undergo teaching and learning at home.
Biarpun Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan bersyarat dilaksanakan di seluruh Sarawak, namun keadaan masih lagi terkawal terutama di lebuh India ini dan rata-rata pengunjung juga masih lagi mematuhi prosedur operasi standard SOP yang telah ditetapkan. Dan rata-rata yang mengunjungi kawasan ini adalah terdiri daripada kalangan ibu bapa yang membeli kelengkapan persekolahan anak mereka menjelang sesi pembukaan sekolah nanti. Laporan Akmal Saleh bersama juru kamera Fikri Razak untuk TVS.
The relatively good weather in Sarawak has allowed flood-hit areas to gradually recover, with the number of victims reduced to 679 people as of 4 p.m. today. In a statement, State Disaster Management Committee said there are 6 temporary relief centres remaining in the Kuching and Serian divisions.
The remaining temporary relief centres in Kuching is the Haji Kamarudin Segedub Community Hall that houses 24 families comprising 113 flood victims. Meanwhile, in Serian, 5 temporary relief centres are still open, housing 165 families, which comprises of 566 flood victims. The 5 temporary relief centres are located at Kampong Rimba Padi Community Hall, Tanah Puteh National School, Kampong Slabi and Tukoh Community Hall, Balek Buk Janjun Community Hall, and Serian Community Hall.
Malaysians working in Singapore have started receiving the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Those who received the injection are mostly working in the sector that is given priority to receive the vaccine.
Some of them started sharing their experience in the Malaysian-Singapore Border Crossers Facebook page, which now has a following of almost 82,000 members. The Singapore government has made provision for all Singaporeans and long-term residents in Singapore to be vaccinated by end 2021 if there are no unforeseen disruptions to vaccine shipments. Singapore received the first shipment of Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine on December 21st. To ensure accessibility of the vaccine and enable the Republic to achieve a higher rate of inoculation for the population, this vaccination will be free. According to the Republic's Ministry of Health, as of January 12, 2021, more than 6,200 individuals have received their first dose of the vaccine here. These numbers are expected to rise substantially in the coming weeks as it continues to ramp up its vaccination operation.
Now moving on, entrepreneurs need to continuously equip themselves with new knowledge and skills, not only for their business's survival, but also to take advantage of the many new opportunities.
The Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives, MADAC, has urged entrepreneurs to take full advantage of the various assistance, incentives and programs. Minister Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said informal business entrepreneurs are also encouraged to register with the relevant authorities. He added so that all the allocations and assistance available could be channeled to the eligible recipients. According to the ministry's surveys, some of the major challenges that entrepreneurs will face during the Movement Control Order 2.0 are cash flow constraints and lower sales volume. This is largely due to the decline in customer demand as well as the shorter business operating hours. Wan Junaidi said the micro and informal entrepreneurs would be the most affected by cash flow constraints. They do not have much saving to cover business operating costs such as employee salaries, rental and utility bills.
Now moving on to sports news, Malaysian professional shuttlers Goh Wee Sham and Tan Wee Kiong put up a gutsy display to world number 7 Li Yang and Wang Qilin of Taiwan in the men's doubles final of the Yonex Thailand Open in Bangkok. The Malaysians started the final on the back foot before bouncing back to take the second game at 23-21. Unfortunately for them, the Taiwanese stepped up a gear in the final game to clinch victory in 65 minutes and take home 298,726 ringgit. The Malaysians had to settle for 141,289 ringgit. This is the Taiwanese pair's third win over the Malaysians since 2019. 3 National Sports Institute officials who were involved in the quarantine-based centralized training camps tested positive for COVID-19. The National Sports Institute had dealt with the matter in accordance with the standard operating procedure set by the Ministry of Health. Chief Executive Officer Ahmad Fazal Muhammad Ramli said their close contacts have been identified to undergo COVID-19 screenings and placed under home surveillance order. He said that 47 National Sports Institute officials had already started to monitor the development of the athletes and coaches' National Sports Council training programs. He said the main scope of responsibility at the centralized training camps include health monitoring, early treatment services, medical clinical referrals, as well as compliance with personal healthcare practices. In terms of performance, the NSI Sports Science team's role will be to provide sports science expertise. Previously, the National Sports Council confirmed that 7 athletes and 6 officials had tested positive for COVID-19 after returning to training camp from Christmas and New Year leave on January 3rd. Well, looks like we have reached the end of the Nightline. With that, I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for tuning in. Have a pleasant night.